We're seeing a lot of extra borrowing from sovereigns this year to deal with the coronavirus epidemic. Is this likely to continue into subsequent years, or are we looking at temporary emergency measures?
Yeah, it's obviously hard to make predictions for 21 and 22 at this point, since most sovereigns don't even have a certain picture of this year's funding. But based on our own calculations and predictions at JP Morgan, we do expect a V-shaped recovery to a large extent. So we see a contraction of 7% in Western Europe for this year, and then an equal amount recovery, 7% next year. But this is not going to translate one for one into deficits, right? So for the deficits, which are driving the funding needs, we expect still to have 4% fiscal deficits on average in the euro area next year, and only over 22 and 23 for state budgets to balance again. So this would mean still elevated funding needs next year for sovereigns, somewhere in between the 2019 and the 2020 levels. And then again, still elevated levels in 22 and potentially also 23. So there will be more supply over the next 2 to 3 years, but certainly the bulk of it is going to hit the market this year.
In light of all this extra supply we're looking at, the ECB has so far done a good job with its purchase programs in keeping the spreads of European periphery in a reasonable proximity to bunds. Will that be continued? Will they be enough going forward?
I think at the moment it feels like that it's enough. If we look at the numbers, we estimate purchases for April around 175 billion, and for May of 150 billion. Overall for the year, we expect somewhere between 800 and 900 billion of purchases, and that covers more than half of the gross issuance from sovereigns. Leaving maybe only about 450 billion of gross issuance to be covered by the private market. So I think this is a very sizable and decent support for the market, and I think also the ECB would announce further measures if needed for 21 and 22.